Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And today, I'm checking out a brand new model from Kubey. And if you recognize this white box, that means that you know that there is something more than just a budget knife in this box. This is one of their more premium style packaging, which they reserve for knives that are made with titanium. And you know how much I love titanium, but spoiler alert, I've already opened the box. I couldn't wait to get my hands on this. This is the Kubey Veragero, and it's a brand new model here in 2024, and I'm so excited. I am so excited to check this out because this is a knife that follows the recipe of one of my favorite knives of 2023, and that was the Kubey Titanium Titus. And some of you are already starting to see what I'm talking about. We have some really good things happening here. First of all, let's start off talking about the specs. The Veragero features an overall length just shy of 8 inches, coming in at 7.8 inches long with a 3.3 inch blade. That blade is made out of 14C28N, which has been cryogenically heat treated to 60 to 62 HRC. They do call this a clip point style blade. I would consider this to be more of a modified clip point. Potato, we'll call it a modified blade shape and move on. The handle scales are titanium. It features a single-sided pivot. It is a frame lock with a pocket clip that is also titanium, and yes, I did verify that. We have a somewhat decent backspacer here. It's not quite a half length, but it is definitely decent enough. And if you can see that pocketed milling on the inside of the handle scales, that lets you know that despite its titanium construction with the inclusion of a backspacer, it only weighs about 3.9 ounces. That is very well within carry parameters for a lot of people. It is running on bearings, and guys, it's smooth. It is really smooth. Now, I haven't had this for more than a day yet. I couldn't help myself. I had to go ahead and do the video on it. So I will say this. It wasn't this smooth out of the box. There's a trick that I do to make knives smooth, especially when they have this satin finish. Belt satin finishes can take a minute to wear a track from the detent ball into the blade. And so I did two things. The first thing I did is a little trick, which is really easy. You basically put a little bit of pressure on the lock bar, and then you just work the blade. You do this about 10, 15, 20 times, and you'd be surprised. Just a little bit of pressure, help wear in that track. Nothing too serious, nothing too egregious. But now it is very smooth. As you can see, it is dropping onto my thumb. And the more I work this knife, the more I open and close it, the smoother and more silky that action is. It's rather good. Now, you do have two deployment options here. First of all, we have this deployment hole, which is easily accessible for a reverse flick. Can you thumb flick it? I actually haven't tried this yet. Yep, you can thumb flick it. And then, of course, a front flipper with a really decent amount of jimping there. And front flipping action is solid. Very good as a front flipper. You might not have noticed, so I'm going to go ahead and point it out. There's absolutely zero body screws. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. There are no body screws. Instead, we have the T8 pivot screw and a T8 pocket clip screw. That's it. That is absolutely it. That's all you need to do to take this knife apart. 2 screws and you're done. Of course, it does have a T8 lock bar insert screw, but that's not what I would consider a body screw since it's not required to take the knife apart. The blade is beautiful, and the edge on here is, well, it's a Kubey edge, which means that it comes fairly polished from the factory. It's actually very slicey. Let me grab a piece of paper and I'll show you what I mean. Plain Jane piece of paper here, and I gotta say, it is very slicey from the start. No issues going through this paper at all. definitely a sharp edge, and it's 14C, which means it's not going to be terribly difficult to put your own edge on there if you decide that you want a higher edge bevel, which I actually prefer on 14C. Now, we absolutely have to do a quick comparison because, like I said at the start, this follows the recipe of success from the Kubey titanium Titus. This specific one, though, the titanium version with the cryo-treated 14C, is a step above the rest. And when you look at this, you really can see that they did in fact follow that recipe. The Kubey titanium Titus is an amazing knife, but there are some stark differences here. First of all, you'll notice that the Titus does not have a backspacer. It features an open back design with these barrel spacers. I do prefer a backspacer, and you do get it on the Vergero. Also, another stark difference is going to be on the pocket clip. On the Kubey Titus, we have a deep carry clip, and on the Vergero, we do not. This is more of a clip style that we see on American-made knives, where it's slightly bent, it comes in, and it exits. Now, I actually don't mind that because the deep carry clip, if we were to put that on here, would actually put this ski jump right in the middle of your hand and it would be uncomfortable. But the way that it's situated right now, it actually disappears, and so it helps with the ergonomics. Another difference is that this is a plain Jane titanium scale with no extra milling, whereas the Titus does have these milling lines, which I really appreciate. That's actually something that I wish that the Vergero came with, because it does do a great job of hiding scratches and wear over time. Not a huge deal, just a personal preference. So you might be asking yourself, what exactly does this cost? Well, as of right now, this costs $148 on Kubey's website. And that might be what you would consider to be a little bit on the steep side, but bear with me. I do in fact have a discount code where you can get yourself a cool 6% off, and I'll make sure to post that in the description right next to where this is linked. I'm going to make a suggestion right now, guys. If you want one of these, I would get on them, because these recently released. Reviewers like myself have recently got our hands on it within the last 48 hours, and that's why I'm making this video right now instead of waiting, because I want to make sure that anybody that watches this channel has an opportunity to get one while they're still in stock. Ultimately, this is an impressive knife for a lot of different reasons, but one specifically that I absolutely have to talk about is the cryo-treated 14C at 60 to 62 HRC. And I know some of you might be heading to the comment section right now like, listen, dude, 14C is a great budget steal, but it scratches easily, blah, 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 blah. If you do some research, you'll find that most of the 14C that's out there is treated to about 59, and it's not a cryo treat. That is not necessarily that good. 59 HRC is, well, yeah, it's soft. And I'm not going to say that those are bad heat treats. I'm just going to say that they're soft heat treats. With the cryo treat, you actually get to experience 14C at its finest. According to Dr. Laren Thomas, you get the most out of the wear resistance of 14C at about 62 HRC, which means that for most of you who are about to complain about the soft nature of 14C, you probably haven't had the opportunity to experience it when it's been done right with a good, proper cryo treat. 14C is amazing, and it's also one of Dr. Laren Thomas's favorite knife steels. As far as suggestions are concerned, I have a big one, and that suggestion is to bring back the same milling that we see on the Kubey Titus. The milling on these handle scales on the Titus is absolutely fantastic, and I would love to see it on the Vergero. Not to say that you couldn't do something else with this. I think that knife modders are going to have a lot of fun with this knife because it's basically a blank slate on those handle scales. You could do some milling yourself, or you could do some extra anodization, or you could just get this in the preferred color that you like, because they do have this in several color variations. I'll leave the link below. You could check it out if you want to see for yourself, and I definitely recommend it because this is definitely so far one of the best knives that I've experienced under $200. Kubey's been doing an amazing job at coming out with knives in the $100 to $200 range. They're not just good knives, but they're also good prices. And that's something to be said for a price range which is often left pretty barren. but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. Have you seen any other videos on the Veragero? Are you considering it? Are you going to pass on it? If not, why not? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, make sure to click on one of the videos that pops up next.